Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and demons of stupidity. It is I, Alejandro Cortez, Deputy of Common Sense, and your factual flayer of feministic fallacies. Today we'll be talking about rape, because that's not controversial at all. Let's ruin my reputation and alienate every woman I know. I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's do it. Welcome to the Endless Waltz. May I have this dance?
There is nothing wrong with your browser. Do not attempt to refresh the page. We are now controlling all that you see and hear. We control the horizontal and the vertical. We can delude you with 1,000 videos or expand one single frame to crystal clarity and beyond. We can shape your vision to anything our imagination can design. We shall control all that you perceive until we see fit to release you. You are about to experience the depths of depravity that reach from the folly of human pursuits to the Deputy of Common Sense. Please stand by.
When speaking about feminism and its various flaws, the subjects of rape and the Me Too movement inevitably come up. The feminist solution to the problem of rape seems to fit a shared basic idea. This idea is that men rape because they are taught to rape, and they are taught to rape because rape is somehow acceptable using societal structures which form the towering menace of rape culture. The concept of rape culture states that a society normalizes rape through a wide variety of different ideas and behaviors. These vary from extreme examples such as victim blaming to an innocuous comment on a woman's appearance while out shopping. There are numerous aspects of human society that perpetuate the aforementioned boogeyman. In fact, this boogeyman is so powerful that feminists would ultimately lose hope without a weapon capable of slaying it. This weapon is a simple solution. However, despite the allure of simplicity, I would caution my readers to remember the words of H.L. Mencken. On the subject of simple solutions, he had this to say: "For every complex problem, there's a solution that is simple, neat, and wrong." This is no different. The magic phrase is, "Teach men not to rape." The purveyors of this idea seem very satisfied with such an easy fix. Just teach men not to rape. They say that it's so simple. I disagree. First of all, it'll never work. Second, the idea of rape culture is a myth, and when someone reaches a conclusion based on an imaginary idea, I'd say that it's a very poor conclusion indeed. Conclusions based on faulty premises are useless. Make no mistake, that's exactly the case here. They haven't thought any of this out, or if they have, they don't care. They've just found a premise that gives them personal satisfaction, and then they've built a conclusion around it. The premise and resulting conclusion are a clear example of the fallacy of oversimplified cause. The fact is that the concept of teaching someone not to rape is based on a generalized cause. This cause is as follows: men are permitted and encouraged to commit rape. That is a well-intentioned but baseless assertion at best, and an outright malicious deception at worst. Let me explain it properly. If a person becomes a rapist, it's never ever because that person was taught that rape was acceptable. I posit that the root cause is primarily a combination of a violent/controlling nature and an environment where the balance between discipline, empathetic parenting, and moral teachings is destructive to a child's development. The solution isn't teach men not to rape. The solution is to instill a certain respect for personal boundaries, proper behavior in social settings, and how to differentiate between fantasy and reality. The problem isn't that we live in a rape culture. The problem is that many parents either lack the tools to raise their kids or refuse to use those tools in favor of outdated methods from bygone eras. No, feminists are not actually the defenders of women at all. They want to control how men think. They wish to shape us into the image they envision, regardless of our own personal needs or wants. And that is a dangerous way of thinking. The idea that a certain group of people are the cause of all of society's problems has been the basis for almost every historical atrocity by totalitarian regimes ever. However, I realize that you might be skeptical, and so let me provide a small thought experiment. When using the phrase, "teach men not to rape," replace men with blacks, or Jews, or gays. See what I mean? When the word men is swapped out for any multitude of other groups, the sentence is considered hate speech rather than justice. The reason for this is that in feminism, men are always the oppressors and women are always the oppressed. Men are always the bad guys, women are always the good guys. It's black and white thinking at its worst. Now, in regards to my thought experiment, the aforementioned replacement words can include women, and therefore they go against the tenets of feminist doctrine. Men are always the oppressors, and that is that. This is the faulty premise which gave rise to a completely impractical and ridiculous solution. Teaching men not to rape is a Sisyphean task. It is impossible and is rendered ultimately moot by reality. There is no point in trying to teach something to people who already understand it. It's completely unnecessary. The vast majority of men do not see women as sex objects, for their entertainment, subjects to be dominated, or trophies to be won. While it is true that some of these male stereotypes exist, they are not glorified by society at all, in any other aspect than as idle fantasies. These rare stereotypes are seen by men as the same kind of creeps that would sleep with their girlfriends, wives, or sisters, and we hate them as much as women do. Trust me, I hate those guys. They're trash. They're the moral and intellectual equivalent of cave-dwelling Neanderthals. They're mongoloids. But these men are the exception rather than the rule, and they speak for themselves alone. The rest of us view women as partners for a relationship or sexual encounter. Very few men think of sex as a literal conquest where the woman gets knocked in the head with a club and is unceremoniously dragged back to his cave. Most of us actually prefer it when the woman is enjoying herself, and we prefer to build relationships based on mutual desire. I am no exception. Nonetheless, proponents of feminist doctrine teach us that men are the inherent oppressors. This knowledge is used as a way to create universal scapegoats, and as a result, men suffer greatly under the totalitarian fist of feminism. The current political and social climate causes men to fear sexual encounters with women. Men fear that one small mistake will render them jobless or worse, result in a prison sentence, and this is a legitimate concern. But of course, feminism provides a typical response to the troubling doubts raised by false accusations. Either they do not happen, which is ridiculous, or they do not occur often enough to pose a genuine problem, which does not matter. This is a complete falsity, which is refuted by the data concerning false accusations. According to a study done by the National Center for Behavioral Intelligence, they are not rare at all. With the cooperation of the police agency in a small metropolitan area, forcible rape cases were studied over a 9-year period. 41% of the rape cases turned out to be false. Many cases exist where an innocent man is sent to prison only for the woman to later admit that the events never actually happened. One such event would be the case of the lacrosse team at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina. Another would be the case of Alex Goldman versus Catherine Reddington in Syracuse, New York. Ultimately, the arguments for the existence of an inherent male oppression in sexual interactions are baseless. Furthermore, the courting ritual is not a social conquest, but an essential biological process with commonalities shared by almost all types of mammalian species, as well as several avian species. The truth is, the probability of success in sexual encounters is determined by human evolution. Our preferences are a part of our biology. Women are fundamentally drawn to certain male traits. Our looks, our smell, how we act or talk, physical strength, sensitivity, and bravery are just a few traits that are generally perceived as desirable by women. If a man has enough of these traits to reach the proper level of sexual attraction, then it will likely result in a consensual sexual encounter. Women have innate biological preferences for the type of men they like, and so of course the reverse is also true. The criteria for attractive women shares the same basic foundation, and only deviates on the details. Basic human instinct dictates that males desire to have sex with females and vice versa. This isn't unique to humans. Neither are courting rituals. For example, the male bowerbird builds a nest for the female, and if she likes it, she mates with him. If she doesn't, she leaves. That is how most life on this planet evolved. Also, in some avian species like the duck, rape is a common way of breeding. The point is, this is not an issue that can be solved by defeating a social boogeyman. Solutions to complex problems are never that simple. If any further evidence of inherent subjectivity regarding this issue is required, I submit myself. I've done some pretty horrible things, I won't lie. But, despite that, I never needed someone to say, "Hey, don't rape people." Nobody needed to tell me that. I just knew. I won't lie to you, I'm a fucked up person. I possess many character traits that are shared by the likes of Elliot Rodger, but my path diverged from his in a drastically opposite and more positive direction. We're similar people who made different choices. Why? The difference is ultimately very subtle, and it all boils down to the nature versus nurture aspect. While very similar, my destructive nature was fundamentally weaker, and my positive nurturing was fundamentally stronger. Together, those two aspects altered my path so that I left the destructive path soon after receiving ketamine. It was never a question of if I would get this far, only of when. Ultimately, the responsibility for a child's development remains where it always has been, on the parents. It is not the job of society to raise your child. That is the duty of the parents. If the parents are unable to meet the challenge, they have no business raising a child. Let me tell you this up front. I am not up to that challenge. So I choose not to hurt an innocent life to satisfy my own ego. That path has caused enough damage, and I will not repeat my father's mistakes. That is my choice. We are all responsible for our own choices. We always have a choice, and we can always choose to do what's right if only we can be brave and not look back. The fact is that this issue is far from simple, and therefore a simple solution is unlikely to eliminate the problem. Regretting one's willing participation in a sexual act and rationalizing it away as rape may give one comfort in the illusion of a moral high ground. But facts are facts, and the fact that you regret sleeping with that frat boy does not make the act non-consensual. Consent cannot be revoked after the choice has been made. If one experiences regret after making a choice, one should learn from that experience and avoid letting it happen again. We cannot punish the other party just because we have regrets. Furthermore, there is a clear double standard surrounding the issue of rape like a noxious gas. If this is a matter of correcting gender-based legal bias in the justice system, then it has failed miserably by adding more bias instead of placing greater focus on evidence. If this is a fight for gender equality, then why is it when Aziz Ansari has a poor date, he makes national news, but when a female teacher commits serial statutory rape, news coverage is nowhere to be found and feminists are oddly silent? The reason is that feminism is a totalitarian movement, and men are the pariahs and scapegoats among its ranks. This is an evil idea based around misconceptions, disregard for facts, and outright deceit. Feminism has pulled this tactic straight from the totalitarian playbook. They've created a boogeyman where none exists, in pursuit of rallying the people around them in opposition to a perceived enemy. However, this is mere perception rather than reality. Men are not the villains in a massive plot to normalize rape. We are not inherent oppressors, we are certainly not inherent rapists, and we should not be thrown in prison based on lies. Society should encourage men to engage in consensual sexual encounters without fear of prison. You've read the feminist solution to this issue. Now let me give you mine. This is my solution to the problem. We should stop automatically taking the victim's word as divine truth. We should keep listening, but only believe if we can prove the events are based on facts. In addition, false accusations should not be tolerated. They should be treated as a felony offense where the accuser is given a sentence equal to the exact number of years faced by the accused. Furthermore, if the accused has already been convicted and is in prison, then the false accuser has the time served added to their existing sentence. That is my solution. The typical feminist rebuttal to this idea is that such a law will prevent women from speaking out against genuine rapists. This is an example of another logical fallacy, namely argumentum ad consequentiam, or appeal to consequences. It is also completely false. Under my proposed laws, women are still free to speak out and seek justice. The only difference is that any accusation proven beyond a reasonable doubt to have been made with the deliberate intent to deceive the court will result in serious consequences for the accusers. It wouldn't hurt victims of rape or sexual assault at all, and it wouldn't lower the public perception of sexual offense. In fact, it would drastically improve the odds of such claims being taken seriously. If there are consequences for false accusers, then when a woman speaks out, people will take her more seriously because they know that she knows that there are consequences for being a liar. So at the very least, she must actually believe what she's saying. I believe that consent can be revoked until after the act is completed. For clarity, let me use this analogy. If one hires a carpenter to work on their house, but then decides that the work wasn't really necessary after completion, a refund is not given. That's absurd. My overall opinion on the subject is as follows. Consent should absolutely be the result of communication between partners. However, part of that consent means that said consent cannot be retracted after the act is done. We should raise our children to respect the choices of others, regardless of how those choices make them feel. We should always strive to focus on evidence rather than emotion. After all, rape is a criminal matter, and when the law is involved, facts matter and feelings do not produce a guilty verdict. We should respect and cherish that belief, because someday it might be one of us in that cell. It could be me, it could be you. If you can't think of any situation where you'd be the victim of a false accusation, you're probably not having sex all that often. But in any case, remember this. The universe has a sense of humor, and it enjoys punishing us for what we can't imagine. So think very carefully. Ask yourself, would I still support this if I were the victim? Would I still support this if my child was the victim? Your answer to that question may seem without purpose, but I assure you that it means more than you know. In fact, it means everything. I'm the Deputy of Common Sense. I dispense swift justice to those who aren't so swift. Always remember that everyday choices by everyday people can change the world. We always have a choice, and we can always choose to do what's right. So, constant viewer, what will you choose?
You know what, Jay? I just came by to be nice, you know? Show you no hard feelings. But you are being such a bitch.
That's my name, don't wear it out.
Walked into that empty room in your black dress and skinny jeans, hot enough to make me scream. I'm watching you across the room and you're talking like I'm the shit. I wish you'd get over it. But girls just wanna have fun, and all this fun's got me making a run. And all the girls fall in love when they want to, and all the girls wanna drink for free, and all the girls, they do what they want to, and all the girls are the same to me. Colonize my bedroom with your black boots and overcoat, love notes you never wrote. Now search for something relevant to see what your coffee table reads, Cosmo and 17. But girls just wanna have fun, and all this fun's got me making a run. And all the girls fall in love when they want to, and all the girls wanna drink for free, and all the girls, they do what they want to, and all the girls are the same to me. all the girls wanna drink for free. And all the girls, they do what they want to. And all the girls